guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Walker Ford, and guess what? After months and months of trying to track down this car, we finally have our hands on it. What are we talking about? We're talking about this 2025 Ford Mustang, this being a special edition, one of just 1,965 60th anniversary Mustangs. But before we get into this automotive icon, let's talk about what's going on here. So yes, you heard correctly. Get your birthday hats on, get the little noisemakers, and get ready to blow out the candles because the Mustang turns 60 years old. If you want to be technical, it's actually 61 years. Just yesterday was the official birthday of the Mustang. It came to existence in April of 1964 at the New York World's Fair. Now, to kind of celebrate that 60 years, because even though it was 1964, they launched it as a 1965 model. To celebrate the 60, 61 years, whichever way you want to split it, of the Mustang, they're having a special edition. Now, this is just one of 1,965 that they're going to make. You see what Ford did there? 1,965, 1965. So obviously going to be limited. You could only get it in one of three colors. And this is another thing that's maybe a little obvious to you. Red, white, and blue. Go figure. Obviously, when you go white like ours, it is that classic Wimbledon white, which is more of a creamy white, that classic creamy white, rather than Oxford white, which is the color available to the rest of the ponies in the stable for model year 2025. Now, it's not just about the paint job. You're also getting a lot of specific pieces that when you see one of these at a Cars and Coffee event going down the road, it's going to make you look twice and say, hey, that Mustang stands out. But what I want to find out is, for the moolah, for the dinero, is it worth going with the 60th anniversary Mustang? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Right off the bat, just like my Shelby GT350R Heritage Edition, that Wimbledon white is absolutely phenomenal on a Mustang. And when you see it, it automatically makes you feel like something is extra special. Now, at the front of the business, you're gonna get on this special edition the actual blacked out headlights of the night pony. So everything is blacked out on our LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps. Working our way down the creamy white with the flat black, still non-functional because this is a GT. So the good news is all 60th anniversary Mustangs are GTs. You cannot get a 60th anniversary EcoBoost. Second of all, you can get it in coupe form like ours is, or you could also get it in convertible. And then you do have your three different colors to choose from. Now, everything else is going to be because this is based on a Mustang GT, everything else is going to be Mustang GT equipped. So you're going to get that little bit of flat black along the bottom edge. And then, like I said, we got to zonk it every time. It's a fake vent on a GT. I can expect that on an EcoBoost, not a GT. Now, as we kind of come across that front grille area on the 60th anniversary edition, this is actually a unique grille to this special edition. It's meant to mimic the 1965 Mustang. Another thing you're gonna notice is that when it comes to our twin air inlets, that metallic silver on both sides kind of harks back to the chrome and the silver in the grille of the original 1965 Mustang. Now, here's a fun fact. There's a lot of people on the interwebs, the Mustang clubs and everything else that say, no. The first year of the Mustang is 1964 and a half, even though it was sold as a 65. The interesting thing is that the first batch of 1965 Mustangs that were built in 1964 actually have totally different available engines and some other trim pieces that separated it from cars that were built after June of 1964. So that's where we see this argument that no, some Mustang fans believe that there truly is a 64.5 Mustang because of the unique touches that the after June built examples don't have. So you tell me in the comment section, which side of the table are you sitting on? Now on the lower portion, you'll see how they did that same grill shape. So I'm happy that they did the grill on the bottom and the top exactly the same, because like I said, that's one of the key pieces that says that this is a 60th anniversary edition. Of course, you're gonna have that bright silver pony there, just like the original 65 Mustang. And the good news about the grilling is that everything is functional in the center, top, bottom, and on both sides. But let me know what you think about the face of this 60th anniversary. Now, as we rise up, you're gonna get that same Mustang GT gloss black heat extractor. Obviously, the 65th 1965 Mustang did not have a heat extractor or anything like that. Coming around the bend, besides the paint, the other big standout is gonna be these wheels. These are actually meant to mimic the wheels from the 65 Mustang. So you have these large machined aluminum, that 5-spoke design with the dark flat black all the way around. Wheels are gonna be 20 inches in diameter. And then if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of these tires? You're basically looking at 265 on the width. And then you have a 35 series sidewall, and you're gonna get the standard brakes from the Mustang GT. Now, technically, if you go on the website, these center caps are supposed to be bright red, like the original 1965 Mustang. So I'm kind of scratching my head, why is this one not featuring those red center caps? I think another thing that Ford should have done to make it stand out a little bit more is give me some red calipers. I think that would have popped, especially with all the red accents that you're gonna see coming down the side. Would have gave it just a nice extra pop of color. But let me know what you think about the wheels. Are they too bland, or do you like that kind of classic throwback design? It's interesting because another brand that does a throwback to their Fuchs wheels is Porsche with new 911s. So interesting to see how Mustang kind of took a page from that. Now coming down the side, you're gonna get your unique 50 badge, and the way that they did the badge, the shape mimics the 1965, and also the color mimics the 1965 Mustang. So that is one of those things that it's only available on this car. Down below, you're gonna get that nice side stripe where it says 60 years. Let me know if you think it should say 61 technically, depending on if you believe in a 64.5, or are you just gonna go with model year 1965. Other than that, you got that nice fastback roof design, course rear wheel drive, just like the classic 65 Mustang. You do get a limited slip diff, and you do get either 355 gears if you go automatic, or 373 gears if you go with the Getrag 6-speed. Now, coming around the back, one of the things that's weird about this one as well is that it's a spoiler delete. So technically it should have that body-colored white trunklet spoiler. I was confused why it wasn't here until I looked at the Maroni, the window sticker, and it said spoiler delete. I guess they're giving people the option because obviously there was no spoiler on the 65 Mustang, so it gives it more of that classic clean trunk design. Let me know what you think. Would you prefer the trunklet spoiler, or do you like it without? And then nobody could argue with that awesome layout, just like from the past, that tri-bar taillights. You have your GT 60 years badge in the center there. And the way that they made these badges, believe it or not, are meant to mimic the same process as the 65 Mustang, where you have like, it's almost like that glass effect, even though they're plastic, to give you that nice, deep, rich pop of color. Now, as we work our way down, you do have the Ford Performance active exhaust, which is very important because that gives you not only extra sound, but extra horsepower. And then very clean on the rear bumper area. But that's what is included on the exterior. Let's go underneath the hood, and then eventually we're gonna go inside, obviously, and see what is celebrated for this special edition. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. Underneath the hood is that 5-liter Coyote V8. Now, of course, underneath the hood of a 1965 Mustang, you didn't have an engine that looked like that, but it was born with a V8, and we still have the V8. What are we talking about horsepower? 5-liter V8. You're looking at 486 horsepower, 418 pound-feet of torque. It's either going to be bolted to a 10-speed automatic, 6-speed manual, 0 to 60 with the 10-speed in about 3.9 seconds. Top speed around 168 miles an hour. MPGs, do you really care if you're driving a car like this? You really shouldn't, but I'll tell you, around 15 in the city. And then, of course, when we look at weight, the S650 platform, which is this platform, the newest platform generation, the S650 did gain some poundage. It must have got the freshman 15 when it went to college or something, but you're looking around 4,000 pounds. Original Mustang, about 2,300 pounds back in 1965. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this thing up and make it blow out the candles. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Mustang GT 60th anniversary. We're celebrating 60 years of the Mustang. And I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, the Mustang is very near and dear to my heart, and my family is really tied in with the 1965 Mustang. When my parents first started dating, my dad had a 1965 Mustang, and guess what? My mom lost her virginity in the back seat of that Mustang. And because of that, that's why I'm here. And that's why I've always loved Mustangs, and I think that this one is right for me, but how much is it? Very good question. MSRP for this particular one is $62,000. Quite a bit of money, but let's see what you get when you go celebration style to the door panels. You're gonna get your traditional Mustang GT door panels. Now that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'm gonna zonk it because I want some red stitching. Let's tie in the red accents on the outside to the interior. It would have looked fantastic. You still have no gloss black, which is nice. A large door pocket that if you're going to Arby's, you could get your beef and cheddar, you could get your curly fries, and you could get a root beer in there to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, here's that 60th anniversary badge. Love it with the 60 years, the red, and it actually tells you what number you have. So this is number 821 out of 1,965 that are being built. More of that gray stitching would have been better if all this stitching was red. Let me know in the comment section if you feel the same way. Coming on in, you're gonna get the same screens. We've already been through it. It's a 13.2 inch, physically connected to a 12.3. The best news is you have your My Mustang page, which allows you to go into gauges, brings up all sorts of information, which is cool. Plus, you got every color of the freaking rainbow in here when it comes to ambient lighting. Plus, you also have those cluster themes. So what we could do is, if we want to go classic, you could bring up the classic themes and have that there. And I'm going to actually save that. Now, you do have your ventilated seats and your heated seats, but everything you got to touch in the screen. Same thing with your AC controls. You got your blower fan. And then you also have your dual climate control, which is nice to have that, but it would be nice to have some physical buttons. Down below, you got your start stop button. You hit the pony right here to bring up your My Mustang page. It's one of those quick access buttons. Real volume knob, 12 volt. You better get a radar detector. USB-C, USB-A, no wireless charging. That's a zonk. But you can put 4 celebratory Twinkies here filled with cream and sprinkles. This is going to control your 10-speed automatic. I want my red stitching. 2 cup holders. Same thing with the key fob. You got the Mustang badge there. It would be nice to have a special 60th anniversary badge. More of that stripe, that stitching that isn't red Open it up, you got another 12 volt, and you could probably put, I would say, 4 sweet buns in there. I don't know if you've ever looked, but those sweet buns that they sell in the vending machines, if you ever get one, Steven bought one the other day when we were on a trip out in California for a media drive. I looked at the back of it. It had 1,200 calories in a sweet bun. Don't be like the Mustang. The Mustang has put on weight in the past 60 years. Try not to do that by eating the sweet buns. Seats, the leather. Would have been nice to have a nice embroidered badge here that says the 60 years. Wouldn't that have been great? The red stitching would have been awesome. Power bottoms, manual back. Still can't figure that one out. And then, of course, you got the rear seats. There we go. Your mom's going to have a harder time back here with your dad just because it's tighter than it was in the original Mustang, the 65. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel and those classic gauges in this special edition. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do get your Mustang badge. You know what I'm going to say, right? Where's my 60th anniversary badge? Come on. $62,000. Pedal box. You have an aluminum brake pedal, aluminum throttle. I'm going to keep pointing it out until they recycle some more cans over at the Ford factory. I want my aluminum dead pedal. Seat bottoms, you do have your power for the bottom, and the bottom does have 3 memory seat settings. So if you're brave enough to let 2 of your friends drive your special edition Mustang, they could have their own setting just for the bottom. I'm 6 feet tall. I feel like I could almost put on a birthday hat in here to celebrate with the Mustang and still have plenty of headroom. Steering wheel, nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing special about it because we're in a special edition. You have your 2 different types of leather, flat bottom, flat black on the switchgear. You do have paddles because we're in the automatic for the 10-speed to go up and down those gears manually. It is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then, of course, you have that 12.3-inch portion of the display. I love having the classic gauges there. Yes, I know the car is on. But the classic gauges really tie in the whole special edition, even though technically those are not 1965. It's 1967, so it's off by 2 years. But why don't we go ahead? I'm not getting in the trunk. We know there's a trunk. You can put trunk stuff in there. What I want to do is I want to go blow out some candles with this Mustang and go on throttle. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Mustang GT 60th Anniversary Edition. And right away, it's so much fun to drive any Mustang, especially a new one, because you got all the amenities of today's modern technology, but you also have that classic, iconic, legendary nameplate that you get to be behind the wheel of. With the 60th Anniversary Edition, I don't know, man. I wish the interior had some more special touches than just a single 60th anniversary badge. But other than that, I mean, the way that they do the interiors on the Mustang GTs, especially this one, the premium level with the leather, the heated seats, the ventilated seats, all those goodies. I mean, it feels good right from the get-go. It's really cool to look out over the hood and see the Wimbledon white over the Oxford white. That gives it, like I said, that very, very unique kind of presence. And I just don't know if this anniversary edition would look as special in the blue or the red. I think the Oxford white, or I should say Wimbledon white, is the way to go because it's that nice classic creamy white color that you don't really see nowadays on cars. Having the side stripe really gets people's attention, the wheels obviously, and you can't deny the rumble of the naturally aspirated V8 that's underneath the hood, just like 1965. Going down the highway, this car really makes those trips, no matter if you're going to work, if you're going on a road trip, if you're going out for a fun drive, Smiles per miles are what these types of cars are all about, and the Mustang does it really well. Of course, I would prefer it to be a manual, but by taking the shifter, pulling it back to the M, I'm now gonna shift manually with the paddles. Drives really smooth, even with those 20-inch wheels. And if you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna go freaking on throttle here. 4th gear. On throttle, here we go, yeah! All right, guys, I pulled the shifter back to M for manual, and we're gonna go on throttle. Let me slow her down a little bit. 3rd gear, 2nd gear, using the paddles. On throttle, here we go. All the way up to 7,500. This is what it's all about, that linear torque delivery, that feeling you get right in the family jewels where that tachometer is rising and the sounds of the explosions from each cylinder. And by using the pedals, the shifting is actually really, really quick, believe it or not. I mean, I would prefer the manual, like I said, but this automatic shifts very, very quickly. You ready? On throttle, here we go. God, it just gives you a feeling that you know ever since day one, this is what they've been experiencing since 1965. That V8, natural sound, natural feeling, fun, just the whole thing. You're driving a legend. Great on the downshifts. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the way she handles all the way around. Oh, yeah. Nice. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And then you put it back into D, into drive, and she'll shift just fine. Up the gears, down the gears. They tweak the transmission just enough compared to the previous generation to give you better shifting qualities. And you get to have it your way. Plus the fact that you still get the manual. I mean, I personally, like I said, would go manual, but look at the way it shifts. Blips each throttle, keeps the chassis nice and stable. You got the 6-piston Brembo up front. And you're just, it's like that evolution. You know, so many other brands like to change things all the time with their cars. But when you look at brands like Porsche with the 911, and you look at Ford with the Mustang, it truly has been an evolution. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall experience when it comes to this 60th anniversary edition. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys. Another great day here at Walker Ford. Definitely gotta thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, and Tracy for getting us access finally to the 60th anniversary edition. Now let me know what you think. For the price, did they do enough? Is it special enough? And would you want to have this in your garage? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Got to give up the Flood, man. He is working out. He's tanning. He's meeting ladies left and right. So if you want to meet Stephen Flood, you better get your request in. You better RSVP because he's filling up his time slots very quickly. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.